Fall in. Dress right dress, cover down, 4 and 40 all around. It's time for the Abington Veterans Muster. My name is Travis, Marine Corps veteran, Abington resident, and your host. And I hope your summer is warm and bright and you've had a good time. Lots of stuff going on. So again, welcome back to the show. And we're going to start with passing the word. I've got two big things to go over. So here we go. I want to talk about the Abington Hero Banner Program. What is it? What does that mean? Well, Abington has decided to get together, do research, and make a way to recognize those who've served in the military from the town of Abington. And as I understand it, we are proud to honor our local veterans service members throughout the Abington Township. And we have banners that are going to be proudly displayed throughout the town as a lasting tribute to residents who have served or are currently serving our country. Right now, we have 76 banners that will be displayed for a 2-year period, approximately 2 months around Veterans Day and 2 months around Memorial Day. Now, there is a cost. Each banner costs $300 or $150 for those who qualify for financial hardship assistance. And you can go to the Abington website to find out how to apply and all the details around that. You fill out an application with a copy of the DD-214 of the veteran or proof of current service duty status, a digital photo of the veteran via email, a little USB thumb drive, or another digital method, proof of residency if deceased, or driver's license if still breathing air, and a check or money made out to the town of Abington Veterans Services. And, I've had some friends of mine who I serve with in different towns do the same thing. And now that they have children, and some of them have grandchildren, it's kind of hard to believe, but it's true. It's a way for them to say, you know what, I did serve, and here's what that meant. And it begins a conversation with the family and friends about that person who served. And Abington is proud of her veterans, and this is a way that we want to make sure those people are recognized, honored, and that their legacy lives on. And there's more, much, much more. We needed a new, different way to transport veterans to VA appointments or other medical appointments from the town of Abington. And after much consideration, much research, we have something coming together. So you're going to see here in the next couple of seconds renderings of the new Abington transport vehicle for veterans. Now, I'm going to start with the front. You can see it. I can see it right now going down Route 139. You've got stars in the gold, crest in the middle of the hood, and traffic's parting the ways. Yeah, right. On the sides, you have the stars flow down each side, the left side and the right side. And each side has a different marker on it. One side has the Rotary, who's been a very key partner in supporting this. The other side is Abington Sunoco, who has done and will do the maintenance on this vehicle at no charge to help out and make sure our veterans are taken care of. And then you're going to have no problem when you're behind the vehicle, understanding what its purpose is. There's a QR code you can hold your phone up to while you're at the stoplight, waiting in traffic, and learn about all the programs that the town of Abington has for her veterans. This is an amazing project. We want to thank everybody involved, South Shore Votech, Abington Sunoco, the Abington Rotary, and other people who are coming together to make this thing come to life. And when you see it in person, it's going to be a special moment. And again, it's just one more way that the people in Abington, want, demand, need to see the care for their veterans carried out. And why is this important? If you're a veteran and you can't drive to your medical appointment because you're physically unable, or your car is, you can't get into your car, you could have serious problems. If you miss too many of your VA appointments in a row, it causes issues. And an Uber, a taxi is not inexpensive for someone on a fixed income. So this resource available to Abington veterans is extremely important. So again, you're going to see these renderings on your screen right now as you're going from the front to the sides. And we have one side with the Abington Sunoco logo, the other side with the Abington Rotary logo, and the nice QR code in the back. Again, you're going to be able to identify this vehicle anywhere in the town of Abington and know that it's doing good for our veterans. I want to thank you for coming on and checking this out. We have an amazing guest up next. We're on mission, we're on move. Stay with me. And we're back. And not just back a little bit, we're back with another Marine Corps veteran who is joining me today on the Abington Veterans Muster. He is from the Veterans Administration. He has been Semper Gumby to give us some of his time today. I want to welcome Paul Corbett, Marine Corps veteran, and in public affairs for the VA. Paul, welcome to the Abington Veterans Muster.
Great to be here. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's I've watched the sit rep on YouTube. I understand the VA is really working to have somebody who can tell the message and clear up ambiguities, which we'll talk about. But before we get to all the good stuff, and it's all good, give me an idea of who Paul is, like some of your Marine Corps experience and your transition experience, please.
Well, like you said, Marine Corps. I joined before 9/11, about a year actually before 9/11, and I was looking for some assistance from Uncle Sam to pay for college. And then 9/11 happened, and I was like, oh man, the tide changed here. And so I ended up going over to Iraq, ended up going to Afghanistan. And then after seeing a full head of gray hair on my mother's head, I was like, you know what, I think I'll get out and I'll do something a little different. So I finished up my college career and ended up working for Congress for a little bit, doing Veterans Affairs and military affairs work. And then I made the transition over to VA, doing community outreach and public affairs stuff, intergovernmental affairs, since 2012.
So a while now.
Yeah, quite a while, yeah.
What was it like going from working for a congressional aspect to the Veterans Administration? Was it just a different part of government, or was it really a huge, change?
I thought there would be less bureaucracy. And there's, in some places, it's like anything, whether you're working at McDonald's or whether you're at the VA, sometimes you have good bosses, sometimes you have bad bosses. I've been there long enough that I've seen a lot of different faces and worked with a lot of different people. Across the board, for the absolute most part, I say this as a veteran who also uses VA healthcare and what have you. The people there, they care about what they're doing. They could very easily be somewhere else, possibly making more money, but most of the people that I run into or talk to at work, it's, my grandfather served, or, my aunt was in the nurse corps, or something like that. Something that ties into the VA, if not for the fact, like myself, they're a veteran themselves. And so you have that sense of camaraderie, purpose, mission, esprit de corps, all that kind of stuff. And you definitely see it if you ever used any of the community-based outpatient clinics that we have.
I've not used them, but I've been to a couple of them, yes.
It's like a family affair there. Like everybody you go in, they don't even ask your last four. They already know it. It's really, really cool. So it's from facility to facility. And something I'm really happy about and excited about is that literally just got out of town hall with the secretary of the VA, and we're talking about standardization, talking about all sorts of different things that I know that we'll get into later on. But yeah, there's a lot. As a veteran and as a VA employee, I'm very excited to see where the VA is going at this current time.
I just want to go back to the congressional part real quick for a reason. One of the things I'm trying to tell my fellow veterans is, okay, I know we love to complain. Yeah, I don't know about you, Paul, but when we quit complaining in the field is when our lieutenants and staff and COs actually got worried about us. But we love to complain. But I'm like, you've got to take the time and write your elected representative and tell them what's going on. Did you find that to be true when you were serving at the congressional level, that a letter got more attention than just someone, doing a social media post or an email?
Well, it was so long ago, I know that social posts get a lot more interaction than they do back then. But yeah, it definitely, I mean, the buck does stop. Hopefully this doesn't get me in trouble, but the buck does stop with Congress. It's a lot of people be like, well, why is the VA doing it this way? Or why do they have this policy? We are governed by Congress. We have to do what they tell us to do. Everything is, coded out. And it's all regulations underneath the laws that are created by Congress. So in order for something at VA to change, there's certain simple policy issues or just, HR issues or something like that, yes, they can be managed within the House. But for those big things, big programs like PACT Act or something like that, that's by the book from Congress. They tell us exactly how to use the money, how to spend it, where it goes, this, that, and everything else. And a lot of people don't realize that. So, I mean, if you are trying to enact change or advocate on behalf of veterans and, the systems that we have available to us, and it does start with Congress, yeah.
Okay. One of the things as I got to know you before we actually met today was your show, The Sit Rep, where you would come on and talk about VA nomenclature, abbreviations, bureaucracy, paperwork, things like that. And one of the first things I remember, and I still have it bookmarked on my YouTube channel, is the breakdown of how the VA goes through and does percentages. I thought that was very informative. One thing that's coming, very apparent to me, Paul, is just how much the average veteran doesn't know about the VA workings. Is it really possible to have an idea of everything the VA does? And if not, what should I be focused on?
Wow, that's a big question. How much time do we have?
Not enough, obviously.
No, but in all seriousness, I mean, every unique and dependent, because there's a lot of ways in which dependents, whether it's a spouse or a child or even a parent in certain situations, can interact and utilize VA benefits to some varying degree. With that being said, everyone's unique. They all have a different story, different percentage of disability, which can lead to different things. At 30% disability, you're able to add your dependents to your disability, which will increase it every month. There's pension, at 50% disability across the board, your VA healthcare is covered. At 70%, you're looking at now, if you need long-term nursing care, that'll be totally covered by VA. You get to 100%, now you're getting dental. And it's just, there's a lot of different ways. And to know all that, it is really, really difficult. I mean, it's a lot. If you want to learn it all, legitimately, you could read the benefits guide from cover to cover. But
it's like...
And also, unfortunately, written by lawyers. But that's the great thing about having individuals like yourself that are out there, myself, and a lot of other people that, we're not looking to sell veterans anything. We're just trying to, take that lawyer jargon, break it down, make it as simple as possible, and push it out.
But it almost seems like, Paul, that it should be simple from the beginning. I mean, that might sound strange, but we have, I know what Shakespeare said about lawyers. I know that. But wouldn't it be cool if there was like a veteran, like a Marine Corps version of the same thing?
Written in crayon?
Kind of. What do you say?
Well, actually, believe it or not, VA's working on that.
No kidding.
Yeah. So there is, I don't know how much of this I could talk about because it hasn't exactly been done yet. But there are a group of people that have been pulled together within the VA. They were, I guess, picked by the secretary to try and really boil this stuff down and make it as simple as possible for veterans. Not but 20 minutes ago, I was listening and mentioning that it seems ridiculous that any veteran in the country, anywhere, or in the world, it doesn't matter because we have veterans that are over in the Philippines, that they feel the need to seek help to access benefits that they earned and deserve. It's like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
What, it should be as easy as the veteran says, hey, I want to access this, and boop, it's done. And so that's what he's working for.
So let's talk about benefits and veterans, because what I'm going to relay next has happened to me. I've seen it happen in different circles and different other podcasts talking about this, where the host, a certain person will say, you know what, those veterans that did not serve in combat or did not get a Purple Heart should have zero access to VA benefits. And the finger was pointed right at me, because yeah, you got hurt, but you didn't get hurt in combat, and you weren't even in combat MOS really. And I just deep cleansing breast, the whole 9 yards. It's a fact. I didn't serve in combat, but what I found is I have examples of veterans who served in the Vietnam War on Navy ships who got exposed to Agent Orange. People I met in Gulf War I and II, Korean War guys who may not have been in the front line, but they had problems. And they've suffered, Paul, for years because they felt like, well, I didn't deserve it. And I'm surprised that the message still has to be told that they do. How do I educate them to say, hey, this is for you. You can take advantage of this. You don't have to suffer anymore. I mean, it does something to me, and I'm trying to understand how I can be better about that.
Well, I know just from my own personal viewpoint as a combat veteran, I couldn't have gone and done my job without 30 other people doing their jobs to make sure that I'm able to do mine. Everybody in the Marine Corps has a purpose.
Yep. Everybody
has a mission, and that one mission is pointed in one direction. And it takes a lot of people to make that happen. I don't see myself as being a combat veteran who's on the front lines being any more special or any more deserving than somebody who is working at a water treatment plant at Camp Lejeune. Like, I don't feel that way whatsoever. As far as accessing benefits, something I tell veterans all the time is that VA is just like, we'll say McDonald's.
Okay.
If I walk up to McDonald's and I'm like, I kind of want a hamburger, but I know there's somebody else out there that's hungrier than me, so I'm not going to buy a hamburger because I want to make sure the hamburger's there for someone else. Well, then that McDonald's is never going to sell hamburgers, and they're going to go out of business.
Okay.
The VA is the same way. Maybe I don't need the same amount of services that another veteran needs, but by me utilizing VA, that in itself increases the budget of VA, the amount of money that Congress is going to give to them to take care of all their patients. And if that number is really, really high, then they're going to have even more of a budget, which means they can do more, they can hire more, they can build more. And not only that, if I'm just enrolled in VA and I just go to one appointment a year, it's just regular checkup, that's it, have my blood work done and I'm good. I'll see you next year. Well, the amount of money that VA is going to get for that one patient is more than what it costs to provide those services to that one patient, which means they now have a surplus of money in their budget that they can utilize to put a ramp on Private First Class Bobby's house that he needs for his wheelchair, right? So it's just like when we're in the military, all of us are working together for one cause, all of us are one mission. It's no different really with VA. By utilizing VA services, whether it's home loan, whether it's disability compensation, pension, life insurance, health care, education, whatever it may be, by utilizing it, you're showing or you're demonstrating to Congress, hey, there's a demand. And that demand is going to pull in more funding, and that funding is going to be able to help more people.
Okay. You've done the sit rep for a while now. Years. You've been doing this for a long time. What's the process for you to look at a subject that the VA puts in front of you, to break it down, talk about it, where it can, make it sense to the crayon eaters out there or us jarheads? No, seriously. I mean, there's an aspect of being able to do that some people do very well, and some people struggle with. I'm just curious what your process is.
But I have to say, I'm very lucky in the fact that a lot of the topics, in fact, most of the topics that I cover, most of the videos that I do, I choose them.
Okay.
I'm not really having, the secretary or somebody like that saying, hey, cover this topic. I think the last time that's actually happened was when PACT Act came out, and that was quite a while ago.
Right, right.
And so I get to pick and choose. And yes, I was in the Marine Corps, but I am a little bit of a nerd too. I do a lot of online research. I see where it is that people are going, how they're searching for things, what kind of things are peaking, what things aren't. And then some of it's also common sense. You know, say this fall, I might put out a video on the newest hearing aids that VA has. Why? Because everybody's going to get together for Thanksgiving dinner, and Uncle Johnny is going to be at the end of the table going, what? And he'd be like, didn't he serve in the military? Yeah, he did. Let's bring him to the VA and get him some new hearing aids. Oh, boom, there's a sit rep video telling you exactly how to do it. So a lot of it's timing, but it's also trends. You know, you can keep your ear to the ground, and all of a sudden some topic just starts boiling up, say like measles or something like that. You know, and it's like, okay, what can I cover that's around this topic that'll help educate people in a really simplistic way, where they can get it in 2 to 5 minutes instead of having to sit there and listen to this like obnoxiously long podcast that it's not until hour 2 that you finally get the answer to the question that you were looking for.
Well, that's the thing. Just that I really liked is I'm like, okay, your shows are anywhere from 3 to 7 minutes long.
Generally, yeah.
Average.
Yep.
But I'm like, he's getting the problem, the solution, and the next step like down. And I'm like, okay, go to this video and watch just to figure out how your percentage is computed. I got it, Travis. I got it. And I found that very, very valuable. And I'm just curious, do you get any feedback, from other veterans out there in the wild who are like, hey, Paul, I learned something today?
I do. And I used to do a lot of face-to-face outreach. I've since moved on from doing that, which I honestly miss it a lot. But I can't tell you how many times that a veteran come up and be like, hey, wait a minute, you're that dude from YouTube. I'm like, yep, that's me. They're like, dude, you helped me so much, and you did this or you did that, and it really is. It's very meaningful. It's really, really meaningful, and it keeps me going to keep pushing, trying to innovate, create more. Not only that, but inside the VA itself, what we're doing, how we're going to modify and change communications, improve it. That's, yeah.
Sweet. We don't have all day, unfortunately. No. And we're not in a 5-ton where you're a captive audience with me either, because that's my favorite thing. I'd have the lieutenant or the gunny in my 5-ton, and they had to answer my questions then. It was great. But you just got off the line with Secretary of the VA. What did he talk about, and what did you take away from that conversation, Paul?
And he talked about a lot of stuff, but I would say one of the biggest things, and one of the first things I've ever heard from someone in leadership, with my own ears anyway, is that there's a common fallacy that, if you've been to one VA, you've been to all VAs. And that's really not the case. I mean, for anybody that's ever traveled, anybody that's been a snowbird, one VA is not exactly the same as another VA. One VA might have acupuncture. You go to another VA and they're like, the VA doesn't offer acupuncture. And you're like, oh my God, I want to kill somebody, right? And so that's one of the things that he really spoke on for quite a while, is that desire to standardize this stuff, that the SOPs at this facility and this facility and this facility, why are they different? Why aren't they the same? Why isn't it
I thought they were the same.
No, they're not. It's crazy. I mean, standard operating procedures for the most part are similar, but I mean, just even the way that a waiting room might be designed or something like that. You go into one facility, it looks like one thing. You go into another facility, it looks like a completely different facility, like night and day, totally different, right? From the top to the bottom, the secretary wants to, standardize everything. No matter what facility you go to, you can get the same standard of care across the board. And if that facility, just because it's smaller, maybe it doesn't have all the full-time employees that it needs to provide those services, okay, we'll put you out in the community so that you can get it. If that's what you want to do, we'll offer that. But Yeah, standardization across the board. I'm very excited about it. And again, that's the first time I've ever heard someone in leadership be like, yeah, he's been to 50 different facilities so far, and it's been, what, 6 months, I think, or something like that. And he's like, it's so amazingly different. And he comes from the point of view of a veteran himself, so.
So one of the things that I get asked a lot about, and I don't know if you can comment on this, but, Travis, the secretary's going to take away, services because they're doging it, and I'm going to lose access to care. And I haven't seen that yet. And I tell them, I said, I can't find anything that's going to happen. Where'd you hear this from? Well, someone on Twitter. I'm like, deep cleansing breaths. But I'm all about being more efficient with the taxpayers' money. Absolutely. And I think that's the message he's trying to say, right? But is there a desire to make the VA more efficient?
Yes, wholeheartedly,
Yeah.
1,000%. I mean, one of the things that he had commented on is, for a long time, homelessness and suicide have been major topics and very well funded. I think on average it's been like $580 million a year for quite a while. So we've spent over $2 billion, or the VA has spent over $2 billion, and we're still kind of in a very similar place as we were when we first started these programs. It's like, well, what are we doing? How can we improve this? Maybe, just maybe, there are people that are out in the community that are better at doing this. Maybe we should listen to them. Maybe adopt some of the things that they're doing. Or if they're already doing it really well and we trust them with our veterans, why not allow veterans to access their services and programs, especially if it's closer to home or near where they are, what have you. So he's looking at a lot of different ways. But as far as, just cutting and slashing and hospitals closing and clinics, that's not happening. It's not happening.
No. You've been with the VA now for a while. We have this new secretary in there. They're trying to make changes. In your mind, what do you see for the future of VA healthcare and advocacy for veterans in the United States?
I'm not saying this as a VA employee. I'm saying this as a disabled veteran.
Okay.
I'm pretty excited about it, honestly. There's been parts of the country where I used the VA and I didn't really like it. There's been other parts of the country that I've used the VA and it's been exceptional. It's like, hey, and he wants to cross-pollinate. He's like, okay, let's take the best practices from here and adopt them here. Makes sense, We've got the experts. It's like, why is it difficult to have a doctor transfer from here to there to take care of this pocket of veterans that need it, and then they can go back to their regular facility or whatever. Some of these things within the VA are complicated to do for no reason. Like I had said, a lot of facilities do it, well, HR works this way, but our HR works that way. It's like, why don't we just have one HR?
No.
Yeah, why not?
That makes sense.
We've got a budget of a Fortune 100 company. Why don't we act like one,
How can people access your show and plug into what Paul's talking about and doing? Because it's on my speed dial of, okay, if Travis can't explain it, then I send them to you.
Well, I appreciate that, especially the trust. But yeah, it's as simple as searching hashtag the SitRep on YouTube or on Google. And if you're on Google, just click on videos and eventually you'll see my ugly mug on a thumbnail somewhere in there.
No, it's the Scally Cap.
Yes, I've got so many of these. Yeah.
Well, I have to ask now that I'm glad I brought it up, because I'm like, how many do you actually have, Paul?
Well, officially, in fact, my daughter chose this one for me today, and she's sitting back there somewhere. I believe she counted it was like in the 30s. So
It's
one
just
for every day
this.
of the month.
Okay, maybe I don't want to copy you, but I mean, it's a nice look.
Appreciate it. I appreciate it.
30 of them.
And growing.
Okay, all right. It works because it's like, hey, that's the dude you need to talk to.
Well, I'm sure that you can appreciate brand is everything.
Yeah.
Right? So you want to have this particular look, especially on a thumbnail. There's all sorts of science to it, but as they're scrolling through their feed, you want something that's very familiar to them. And like, even though they only saw it for a split second, they're like, oh, wait a minute, I know what that was. And they'll go back and see whether or not it's, something they really want to interact with. But
learn something new today.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you for coming and sharing with us. I think there's a lot of uncertainty out there and a lack of knowledge and where to go to get knowledge and the actual facts about something. So I just hate it when a veteran hears something, at a coffee house or out with his buddies, and that's what he or she believes, and it affects their entire life. So again, when I have a topic that I need a little bit more muscle on, I'm a subscriber, so I'll just say there's the playlist, go and listen to it, and it works out. So I just want to thank you for coming and sharing with us, and I'm looking forward to the future.
Thanks for the invite.
Absolutely. Well, folks, there you go. Paul Corbett, Marine Corps veteran, VA, media extraordinaire, and just really a fountain of knowledge and a wealth of information about VA benefits and how the VA serves us. I want to thank him for coming on the Abington Veterans Muster. Have a safe summer, and we'll see you next time. Oh, and by the way, you are dismissed!